Police are investigating the devastating blaze that killed 2 firefighters and a member of the public at a former RAF base. Thames Valley Police said it was conducting an investigation into the cause of the fire at the Bicester Motion Industrial and Heritage Park, alongside Oxfordshire Fire and Rescue Service. Oxfordshire County Council said the 2 firefighters died while tackling the blaze at Bicester Motion on Thursday night. One of those killed was a London firefighter on retained duties with the Oxfordshire Fire Service, according to the London Fire Brigade, LFB. 2 further firefighters suffered serious injuries and are currently in hospital. 10 fire and rescue crews were called to tackle the fire while residents were told to stay indoors. The council said 4 crews remain at the scene as the blaze is now under control. Sir Keir Starmer described the deaths as devastating news, adding, "The bravery of our firefighters is astounding. Hoping those in hospital make a full and swift recovery." The former RAF base had already been turned into a hub for classic cars. There had been hopes that up to 1,500 jobs would be created by transforming the base into an innovation center for the car industry, as well as a tourist attraction for car enthusiasts. Part of the site was scheduled to open as the home of Canoo, the US electric vehicle firm, with it billed as providing a base for its commercial efforts across the UK and Europe. Canoo had been planning to launch its fleet into Europe from the base, including the Lifestyle Delivery Vehicle, LDV, electric van, already used by NASA, Walmart and the US Postal Service. The EV maker said in September 2024 that the 440-acre estate was chosen because of the location's history in automotive innovation. Construction had also begun at the Bicester Motion site last September on a new headquarters for the Mercedes-Benz Group-owned electric vehicle firm Yossa. Yossa aimed to use its axial flux technology to produce electric motors that are reported to be up to 4 times more powerful than those used in nearly all electric vehicles on the road today. Historic England claims the airfield is the most complete and strongly representative example of an RAF air base in Britain. Andy Rowe, the LFB commissioner, said, "We are devastated by the loss of our colleague, and our thoughts remain with the families and friends of all those impacted by this incident. We are working closely with our counterparts in Oxfordshire, providing support to the family and our crews affected by this tragic loss. Our sincere condolences go out to Oxfordshire Fire and Rescue Service, who also sadly lost a firefighter at this incident, with a further 2 colleagues in hospital." Officers remained at the entrance of the former RAF base on Friday, and a fire engine and ambulance could be seen leaving the area while another police vehicle entered the site. Witnesses described seeing the black smoke in the sky from the other side of town. Julie Stocker, a stay-at-home mother, said she saw the flames from her bedroom window and heard various explosions. The 46-year-old, who lives across the road from Bicester Motion, said, "We could hear the crackle of the fire and then obviously the various explosions and stuff. The smoke was going very high. It was a mixture of white smoke and then really thick black smoke." She said the site where the fire took place is usually very busy and has seen workers being turned away by police this morning. Another resident who lives near Bicester Motion said she thought the popping noises were gunshots and her neighbors were packing bags in case of evacuation. The woman, who did not want to be named, said, "When we looked out the window, obviously it was a fire. But later on, there were like proper explosions." One Bicester resident said his street was all in a panic due to the fire. The man, who asked not to be named, said, "Everyone was all in a panic and no one knew what was happening. It was quite scary. Then we were all told to stay inside with the windows shut. I only really found out what was happening on social media." Another resident, Michelle McCann, 44, said, "We just heard a bang. I was actually working, so we literally just shut all our windows because we could see the smoke. It was loud. To me, it just sounded like a car exhaust because obviously of how close it was. A big bang." Bicester resident Janine McKenna-Jones, 48, described seeing black ash near her home following the fatal fire. She said, "When I got home, there was this massive black ash, sort of smoke. They closed the road at some point in the evening and I think it was closed until maybe 5 a.m. because you could still see the flashing lights. It felt very apocalyptic, if that makes sense." because you see the sky and there's this big black cloud of smoke." Ms. Jones added, "I just read about the deaths on the news and it's just sad really. And it's a shame because obviously it's local people, so it's always a shame too when people lose their lives trying to help others." Rob McDougall, the chief fire officer, said, "It is with a very heavy heart that we today report the loss of 2 of our firefighters. Families have been informed and are being supported." Kieran McGurk, a product director who lives opposite Bicester Motion, formerly known as Bicester Heritage, said he heard multiple bangs and saw a plume of smoke while out walking. He said, "As we walked home and got closer to the smoke, it seemed to get blacker and we heard the sirens. Multiple fire engines and police cars went past us, and as we got to the corner at the bottom of the road, ash started to fall and you could see the sheer scale of what was happening. Loud bangs have been constantly going off and multiple helicopters are still circling the site." The flag of Oxford was lowered to half-mast over its town hall on Friday as a sense of grief swept over the city and county following the deaths. Susan Brown, the leader of Oxford City Council, said, "This is a terrible reminder for us all that firefighters, as well as the other members of the emergency services, put themselves at risk on a daily basis to protect us all. We owe them a deep debt of gratitude. We are deeply saddened, and our thoughts are with the family, colleagues, and friends of those we have lost in this tragic incident." St. Lawrence's Church, in nearby Caversfield, opened its doors to allow those mourning the losses to have a space for private prayer or for stillness and reflection. The church said in a statement, "Our thoughts and prayers are with all those affected by the events of yesterday and especially with the families and loved ones of those who lost their lives." Victoria Prentice, Baroness of Banbury and former MP, said she noticed an unusual glow in the sky as she returned by train to Bicester on Thursday night. "I had no idea how catastrophic the effects would be until I heard the news this morning," she said, adding that the deaths would be felt by the local community very deeply. She said, "I've obviously met firefighters in Bicester in the past and I know that they are embedded in the communities and are brave people who put themselves in danger in order to keep the rest of us safe." Annalise Dodds, the MP for Oxford East, paid tribute to the firefighters as she spoke in the House of Commons. She said, "Since I have been in the chamber, I have received some truly awful news that 3 people died last night in a fire in Bicester, including 2 members of the Oxfordshire Fire and Rescue Service." The member for Bicester, Callum Miller, Liberal Democrat, has had to leave the chamber to liaise with those on the ground. "We both want to take this opportunity, if I may, to convey our deep sorrow and solidarity with the families of those who have died, and our fervent and heartfelt best wishes to the 2 firefighters who remain in a serious condition. We're grateful for their heroism and that of their colleagues when, as ever, they run towards danger to serve us all." Mr. Miller said in a statement, "I am heartbroken to learn that 3 people lost their lives in the fire yesterday at Bicester Motion. My deep condolences go to the family and friends who are now grieving their loss. I want to pay tribute to the bravery of our firefighters and emergency services. It is terrible that 2 fire officers have lost their lives in the line of duty. The death of colleagues will be felt by all in the fire service family and I am holding them in my thoughts. This is a devastating moment for our community. I know it will express its support and care for all those affected." The Fire Brigades Union said, "The Fire Brigades Union is aware of a tragic incident at Bicester, in which 1 member of the public and 2 firefighters have been confirmed dead. Our thoughts are with their family, friends, and colleagues. The Fire Brigades Union will provide whatever support is required in the days ahead, and in time we will investigate what happened." In a statement, Bicester Motion said, "We are deeply saddened to share the tragic news that 2 firefighters and a close friend of the site have lost their lives. There are no words at times like this. But our thoughts and prayers are with their families and loved ones. We pray for the 2 firefighters in hospital. The bravery shown by the emergency services teams has been overwhelming. We are grateful for all the support and especially the exceptional work by all in such unprecedented circumstances." Bicester Motion confirmed the site will remain closed over the weekend.